Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Hope you're doing well. Bubbles is exhausted. She's had a rough morning. I've been shoveling snow. It's snowing here on the East Coast in Philadelphia. I had to shovel snow this morning. I put a little post up on LinkedIn about my son out there working his job, but of course he shovels snow, which has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about this show. But he shovels the snow because he got a little job to do. But he ain't helping me shovel my our snow in front of our house. But he's doing the customers. Yeah, you ever hear about that? Anyway, what do we want to talk about today? Today is our 2-for-1 Tuesday, where we try to 10x our lives and our careers and what we do in our teams and how do we make them better. And I'm going to share this one because it's something that happened this morning. But I have encountered it so many times in my career with companies that want to scale. And part of the scaling problem is that the companies don't comment. They don't share information. They don't document. And then they wonder why they can't scale because it's very hard to do, especially when you go worldwide and you do stuff. And they all look at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, well, you got to comment where you left off your work. But we're going to get into that why to do it. So I got a little billboard in here, scaling, documentation, simple comments as a practice, making 10 phone calls versus reading comments and issues that appear in your dashboard. So this is going to be, I can go on a whole rant about scaling and why you need to comment, why comments make sense, but I'm going to go from your time. How do you 10x yourself? How do you 10x your team between making phone calls and doing this, right? And looking at issues that are important. So this is what we're going to talk about today on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show today at noon. Sorry, I would have done it earlier, but there was a Kartra I got from my emails. They had a session today, and I don't know enough about it, so I'm glad I went on it because I learned some stuff. So those people who put these programs together and these little video clips on how to do stuff to configure something. Now, do I wish it would be all automated? But since everything's so customized nowadays in this planet, I appreciate those videos. So please keep putting those videos out there or those little sessions that I can join. I had to put this stuff off to the side so I could join that one at 11 Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, this morning was shoveling out the snow. So it's been a busy morning here on a Wednesday. No, it's not a Wednesday. It's a Tuesday. God, I almost lost the date. It's only Tuesday. So it's our 2-for-1 Tuesday here in the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way, so you can bring value to your customer, not work crazy hours to bring that value to the customer, and have a little fun along the way. Documentation is not fun. Boo humbug. Yes, it is. Actually, it's a relief, to be honest with you. I'm going to talk a little bit about how it helps people in general, but I really want to talk about it from a Scrum Master management point of view, why documentation helps, but also teammates, right? That's not Team Wednesdays tomorrow. That's something else. But from a 2-for-1 for your own sake. So let's picture this up. I wrote this down on making 10 phone calls, right? Versus reading comments and pick the ones you want to have the conversation about. Every manager, every scrum master, every product owner, every person on every team that I've ever coached in my career, and I'm 55 now. So what is that? 35 years. Even when I was just a minion engineer, whatever, everyone complains about their time and not have enough time to do the things they want to do. And then they wonder why. It's because you're doing this kind of stuff that we're going to talk about today that you should be doing, should be taking less time, and you can move on. So one of the things in our dashboard, and we did Metrics Monday the other day, is I put a dashboard thing and it says if you haven't commented in, let's say, 2 or 3 days on a particular item that's in your backlog, it flashes up on the board. Why? Because people forget, and it's okay. It's just a reminder. Oh yeah, I forgot to comment in there. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, and I'm not going to go through all those because I want to talk about the 10 phone calls as a Scrum Master or whatever. So you're working remote. You're not necessarily in the office, but even if you're in the office, this would apply. So this is really important. Oh, and by the way, this is actually live at lunchtime and not a pre-recorded one. So this is going out live on all the systems right now. And then I'll put it out again on a couple that are left, like X and or Twitter, or if you or whatever way you want to call it, and the corporate page for my LinkedIn later on, probably around 3:00. I'll repost this broadcast. So, and I got to make sure I'm under 15 minutes. So I got to say condense, and I better not talk too fast because I noticed the other day I was so pumped up I just went right. So if there are no comments, and everyone complains about that project manager. Okay, I just use them as a case because there's more project manager out there. All they do is ask, what's the status? What's the status? What's the status? Well, the best way to shut them up is to put a comment in the issue or the thing you're working on. So then you train those product owners and those managers to go read the comments if they have any really question. And if the comment really didn't answer the question, then they call you. But 9 out of 10 times, those comments that you write in there probably won't answer the question that these people want to call to pester you about doing. Now, me as a Scrum Master or a manager, right? So I need to know that information. So what do I got to do? I got to make, let's say there's 10 people on the team. I got to make 10 individual calls during the day. You only have 8 hours in a day. Now you're going to call 10 different people one-on-one to check on a status of an issue or something you have concerned. Really? Two things that happen there. And this is where we do that 2 for 1 and get the most value without spending all that time. One, you're making 10 different calls. So by the time you connect with them and do that, you waste another 5 minutes, right? And then you disconnect. So you get 5 minutes. You have to explain what you're doing for every one of those 10 people, right? Why you're doing it, what do you need? They need a background. They need a little history. So there's another 5 minutes. So right then and there is 10 minutes burnt. You haven't even looked at the thing yet. Though, if you had a comment in there, you could just quickly look at the item, read the comments, see if they answer your question, then invest that 10 minutes into that call, right? And what I find is amazing is all, and if the manager's looking and they're rewatching this video, well, you know what? This is not the only team I've dealt with this. I dealt this with when I was managing 40 teams and helping them scale. And they go, Greg, how do we scale the organization? Well, first off, you're not communicating. You're not writing comments. You got people scattered all across the world. You need to log in some comments. So when the person in India or Malaysia or Australia or Europe or South America picks up the work, they can kind of get up to speed by reading the comments. They don't want to wait till the next day to get you on a call for a 15-minute where your time zones up overlap. And it's like, they look at me like, really? Yes, it's called common sense. Common sense. So having an agreement with your team and setting up practices that you comment on stuff is very sound practice advice for anything. And it doesn't even have to be IT. It could be marketing, could be business, could be anything that you leave a little comment. We all track this stuff. It exists everywhere in every system and every part of the planet and everything going on. Even when you do timesheets, you write a little comment. When you do your time, this is what I did. This is why I took the day off, or the time off. A little comment so that the boss can read it so they don't have to call you. Why did you only put 7 hours in your timesheet? Why didn't you put 8? Well, there's a little comment in there that says, I had to go take my kid to the doctor or something like that. And then they don't have to call you and ask you and then take 10 minutes out of your day to explain and go through what I just said, right? So when I say this, and I'm kind of pumped up if you don't notice this, it's why you do this, and it'll save you so much time. It'll help you scale. Because let's think of it this way. You want to scale. Does people will say, no, it's just me, but you can't just do that. If you want to scale, I'll do a whole nother thing, but I just want to say, when your managers say they want to scale the organization, add more people. Every one of the managers, every one Scrum Master Can we add more people? Well, is your infrastructure, your process, your practice set up to allow you to bring more people on? Or are you going to have to take all your time away from what you do, which where you really add value to the company? You're going to have to take the time to scale up people to get to that point. So are you really ready to hire more people, to add more people to your team? So everyone's like, oh, let's add more people to the team. I said, but are you ready? Have you developed a team where people communicate in multiple different facets so that when people pick up work or you're sick or you're out, snowed right today, my kids' school district, they close and my kids are like, Dad, I'm bored. Let's do something. I'm going to make them do something. but I want to go out there and do stuff with them a little bit because it's a unique event. We haven't had snow here in Philadelphia for 700 days. So it's like the first snow in 700 days. I didn't realize that until they started saying that on the news. So you can't allow, without the comments, without a practice for a little bit of documentation. I'm not talking about a book. I'm not like, hey, let's write a whole book on project management and put that in the comment section of the issue. This is little comments here. This is what I was doing. Here's where I left it off. Here's what I want to bring it back up. And people will say, well, I remember everything. We don't remember everything. That's a bullshit answer. Excuse my French, but it's a bull answer, right? Every group asks, how do they scale? How do I bring more people on board? And one of the first things that I bring up, well, are you commenting? Are you sharing information so that someone else on your team can help pick up on what you're doing? I'm not saying planning and doing the architecture of the design that you should come together and talk about, but wherever you are working on your part of the architecture and maybe another person might pick up on another, they have that exchange so they don't have to keep calling you. Unless, like I said, from a management perspective and just getting that from a management Scrum Master perspective, you really need that documentation in there. So when you look at your dashboards, and I create all these dashboards, the way dashboards are supposed to be designed. It's not to tell you everything on the planet. And this is where these people build these dashboards, got it all wrong. And they make these giant crystal reports or some report, the mechanism, thousands of items on the list. The system is supposed to be able to bring to your attention the ones that you should be brought to your attention. Things that are taking too much time, things that are flags, things that are broken, things that need management support, stuff sitting there too long. What can you do as a manager, as a Scrum Master, to help move those things along? Can I bring more people? Then you start bringing all these solutions in, right? Maybe it's your fault too, by the way, and that was one of the comments made. Maybe I changed the priority from my teammate as a Scrum Master, a product owner, or a boss, or a CIO of the company came down and said, well, we need to change the priority, Ryan. Okay, I'm going to put a comment. Greg came down and changed my priority. So I stopped. Here's where I stopped. Here's where I last worked. Boom, comment, done, right? And then you go off and do the other thing. Now, do you always have to do? There's ways to do that. You can negotiate who's going to do the comments. But without that information, right? When those things start flagging up, why is it taking so long? Why is it flagged? Whatever. The manager, the Scrum Master, the product owner, the team lead, your coworker, maybe they got something done, right? It doesn't have to be all up there. Maybe it's your coworker on your team. They got something done. They're going back to the backlog to pick up something. They see something's been sitting there for a while, right? Because you got pulled off to do something else, and they look at it and they go, oh, this has been sitting where maybe I can do this. Maybe I can get this done so we can look better as a team, right? That's what Scrum's about. It's not about a bunch of individuals doing the work. And if you don't want to integrate with anybody and you want to scale, don't tell me about scaling. If you can't work as a team, you're going to fail at scaling. Anyway, they can read it, see if they got enough information. If they have not enough information, they may contact you and spend that 10 minutes to ask you to get up to date. Does it make sense for me to do it, or should I do something else? Or maybe they just send you a little text message or a Slack message or some kind of message traffic, right? But this is where it helps everyone, right? So unless you want to spend 10 minutes, just like I said, just calling them, connecting, and getting up to speed while you're asking the question. 10 minutes. I'm serious. Time yourself. I bet you it takes you 10 minutes to get up to speed on that. For all those 10 people, think about that. So 10 minutes times 10, that's 100 minutes. That's an hour and a half. Hour and a half out of an 8-hour day is just wasted getting up to speed and getting people in what you want to do, right? It's an hour and a half, right? That hour and a half you lost, you could have just looked at, okay, this thing's flagging. Why is it flagging? Let me go look at it. Check it out. Look at the comments. You can get that done in 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So instead of 10 minutes, okay, let's say it's a minute. It takes me a minute to, that's the slowest system in the planet, by the way, to read, to get caught up on where it is, why it's stuck, what's going on. Shouldn't you take more than a minute? There, I just 10x your life right there. If you have comments and you ever practice for comments for putting stuff in there, I just 10x your day right then and there. You're not calling them, is wasting 10 minutes to get up to speed. Takes you less than a minute. You get up to what you're doing. So I'm way over the 15-minute mark by a minute or so. I believe you. So I'm going to give up. Plus my throat's about ready to crackle on me. I got too excited. Anyway, that is what I want to give you advice for today. Get into the practice of documenting. Get your team doing it. It's going to 10x your day. You're not making, remember, you got to call each individual person. Really? That's a lot. I wonder why you have no time to do what you do and the things you really want to take on as a battle. You're doing these minor things. Status updates. I always laugh. If that's all you can tell me, oh my God, then we're doing a disservice, because they should be able to read the system, look at the dashboard, and have a status update without calling you. Or a different story. So I'm going to leave that with you. Excuse me. Work with your team. Get into the documentation habit. Put comments in there. Make that part of your team norms. That alone will 10x a couple hours out of your day. I'm telling you right now. Think about it. Time what I just said. Next time you have an issue, time when you got the issue, time how long it takes you to connect with that person, time how long it takes you to get the person up to speed before they start telling you the status update and what's going on. It'd probably take you 10 minutes. And then you got to get off the call, and they're going to take you into a different direction and get you off your path during that time. That'll happen too. All right. There's lots of things. Observe all the things that happen. I just wanted to answer status on this thing. Where did that conversation lead you? Maybe it was a good conversation, but still, where did that conversation lead you? You're off track to get stuff you need to get done that day. With that, I want to wish you the best. Good luck on that documentation thing. But getting good habits takes a lot of effort. It's a pain in the butt, but you got to do it, right? It'll make your job easier in the long run. Because let's say you only 10. Well, let's say that you do hire 2 more people. Now you got 12 people that you got to contact about all these issues. And then they don't document because no one else is documenting. And then you got 12 more people. Now you just double and add 20% to your time to go comment and find out what status of stuff is. I can go on forever. Anyway, I wish you all the best. Tomorrow is Wednesday, where we do We Team Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. Still got a Tuesday in me. And I want to wish you all the best. Take care. Remember, document a little bit. Get a team practice. Should be part of your practices anyhow. I don't know anybody who doesn't code and document. If they do, I always laugh at them. Go, you're full. We've been doing this for 100 years. It's always good practice, documentation. Unless you want corporate to come down and one day declare that you will get gigged if you don't document. Control in your team. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. I'm going to be putting up stuff as we go. All right. Bye. And I'll rebroadcast this later, maybe around 3. All right. Take care. Bye.